So what we will do is, it's a very special song. Tamila English I do one of it. Tamil பேசலாம் இங்கிலீஷ் பேசலாம். சரி தமிழ்ல பேசலாம். கீதாஞ்சலி இதில் பண்ணுற மாதிரி முதல்ல வந்து இங்கிலீஷ் போஸ்ட்டு and followed by Tamil post and then playing of the song. This is exclusively written here in Bangalore. Yesterday. இங்கே வந்து டிசைட் பண்ணி பண்ணது. So shall we start?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much. The great Tamil poet Avvaiyar was once challenged by a passerby to identify the grass hidden inside his closed palm with intent to make fun of her. The clever poet who saw through it sang thus: Ettega lakshaname yamanerum pariye mattil periyamai vaganame muttavel kurayilla veede kularaman duduvane arayada sonnayada. In Tamil, the number 8 is denoted as the first alphabet A and quarter is denoted as Va. So the first part of the first line means you ugly. The Vahana of Yama is supposed to be a buffalo, and that of Jeshta Devi, also called as Mudevi, is donkey. After making him realize that he is after all like a buffalo and a donkey, the brilliant poet goes on to say that he is after all a small wall, Kuttichuvar in Tamil. After this, she adds on to the list of animals and calls him as monkey, rather diplomatically this time, as Rama's messenger. The last line has many meanings. Arai means the kind of grass he was referring to. Arayada Sonnayada also means who are you talking to? Or in other words, how dare you tell me? The last part of Sonnai means a dog. Let's look at how this poem sounds. You ugly, you buffalo, you donkey, you monkey. Are you challenging me? Poetic humor at its best. It also shows how assertive women were in Tamil land during that time. Sense of humor is an art by itself. Though we are all born with it, some of us, or should I say many of us, lose it over a period of time. Rather, we believe that it is lost. Nevertheless, unless there is a problem with our lower frontal lobes, all of us do have it, though it's hidden somewhere deep inside in some of us, and even a Google search may not be of any help. What will surely be of help is laughing out loud, not just when situation demands, but also when we are not up to it. How can Thiruvalluvar be wrong when he said, Idukkan varungal naguga? Laughter activates our brain. Laughter gives us happiness. Laughter gives us peace. Coming to think of it, music too has the same effect. So why don't we look at a composition which, while making us laugh, also teaches a lesson or two about music itself. I'm saying teaches because it's based on a pure classical ragam, and listening to this, one wonders if this ragam can also be used in such a situation. Yedukula Kamboji is indeed an interesting ragam. The trinity of Carnatic music, Saint Tyagaraja, Muthuswami Dikshidhar and Shyama Sastri, have all composed in this raga. In fact, Tyagaraja alone has composed 8 kritis, while Dikshidhar has composed the famous Navagraha Kriti on Saturn in this raga. Though it is considered to be a very classical raga, if one traces the roots, one will be amazed to know some facts. The raga is not very ancient as per the classical text, since it does not find a place in texts like Sangeeta Ratnakara. Musicologists consider that this raga must have originated around the 16th century. It's believed that a tribe by name Yerugala sang Kamboji with some variations, and therefore it was called as Yerugala Kamboji, which finally became Yedukula Kamboji. The raga following the same scale known as Sevvari has also been there in Tamilisai since time immemorial. All these historical facts go to show that the raga is of course old, though it was adapted into classical system much later. Sangeeta Sampradaya Pradarshini, considered to be the Bible by present-day musicians and musicologists, calls this raga as Yerugula Kamboji only. The raga, a janya of Hari Kamboji, is Audava Sampurna, having 5 swaras in the Arohana, dropping Ga and Ni, and all the 7 in the Avrohana. But this is a raga which can never be confined to a structure and goes purely by the prayogas. The swara Ma is multi-splendored, and it ranges from being very soft to being very sharp depending on the sancharas. This raga has been wonderfully used by the maestro in a composition where humor runs as the undercurrent. Ottaile Ninnadanna from Vanaja Girija is a song which would never fail to bring a smile on our face whenever we listen to it. Rendered with consummate ease by Chitra, the composition shows the creativity and innovativeness of the composer yet again. I must add here that this is not the classical Yedugala Kamboji, especially in the Charanams, as it has more folksy touches. The composition also shows how the Yerugala tribe would have perceived Kamboji to conceive Yerugala Kamboji. The song starts with a kind of spontaneity so typical of a folk song. The first two lines are rendered without any percussion, which in fact appears only after two avartanams. It is also an interesting combination with the guitar strumming the first two syllables, taka, along with the folk rhythmic instrument. The third syllable is not played, while the fourth syllable is played by the folk instrument alone. The folk instrument plays the next part, but this time leaving the gap in the second syllable. That is, the 8-beat Aditala is split into 16 matras with 4 takadinis. The D in the first takadini and the Ka in the second one are left blank. This pattern, which repeats itself, adds to the folksy flavor of the tune. It is Layaraja again towards the end of the Pallavi, where he splits the 16 as 4 Tishrams and 1 Chatushram. The first interlude is alluring with a host of folk instruments and Western instruments. A composer's brilliance is shown not only in the choice of the instruments, but also in the way these are handled and used. One can discern at least 2 different horn-like instruments. While the first ones play with zeal and zest like a Karma Yogi, the second set plays with a flourish, expanding further. In the second part, there are 3 different instruments. One, a Western electronic instrument. The second one, a stringed folk instrument. And the third one, a stringed Western instrument sounding like a viola. As the first one plays a melody with depth and delicacy, the folk instrument interjects in the second half of the Avartanam with a